So Mrs. Woodward told me to build her an area so she could put up some raised garden beds closer to the house. What Mrs. Woodward wants, Mrs. Woodward gets, so I did exactly that. Now this video, if you want to know all the parts and pieces, all the costs, all the way down per the block, to the wood chips, to the fence, to how do we build the beds, the entire thing, I'm going to share all of that. If you're at all curious, this is the video for you. Okay, so how I plan on breaking this down, let's start from the bottom up. We'll start with what it took to build the wall, to backfill it, and then we'll end with the beds and filling in the beds. So number one, I went to Menards for all of my supplies. To build this retaining wall, I had to get 80 of these big blocks. They cost $7.49 a piece, and I had to get 32 of the top blocks for $7.29 a piece, which brings me a total of $832.48 just for the blocks. You probably can't tell from the camera right here, but in between these rows I have a thing called GeoGrid. It's this like plastic mesh material that just makes your wall, I don't know, 50, 100 times stronger. I don't know exactly what that cost, but I think a roll of it was about 50 bucks. Don't forget your water. I spent about $20 to $30 in tile. Got to have that, otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure. Now labor for all of this was free because I'm an idiot. I did all of this myself, and I hate paying somebody to do something I think I can do myself, right? So I set all the blocks, put the tile, put the GeoGrid in, and then I had to backfill it. I spent about $600 on rock because I don't backfill with dirt, I always backfill with rock. So it cost 2 loads of rock, about 600 bucks. Now you can't tell very well, but underneath all of this, once the rock was down, I did put down a layer of ground cover. Now I already have a 12-foot roll of that from Farm Tech that I had a couple of videos ago. So that was technically free because I already owned it. On top of that, I wanted to make it look a little different texture. So I went and got a few loads of wood chips from our local nursery. That cost maybe 75 bucks. So at this point, I have not planted a tomato, I have not built a garden bed, I haven't done any of that work yet. All I've done is built a retaining wall, backfilled it with rock, handled the drain, put down ground cover, put down some wood chips. So at this point of the project, I'm about $1,582.48 into the project. You can't quit now. Now you got to keep going, right? So we did. So in my garden bed area, I have 6 total garden beds. 3 of them are 3 foot long by 8 foot long, and 3 of them are smaller ones, 3 foot by 3 foot. Let me break down what it costs in materials and supplies to build all of those. Now you guys remember me making garden beds before, and I typically use that corrugated steel. You know what, the long run, I just didn't think that held up very good. So I just wanted to go old school and just make them purely out of wood. I don't care if these things gray up over time. Actually, I think that'll look cool. So in each corner, to make them as strong as I possibly can, each corner simply just has a cut off 4x4. Now everything's grain treated. Now before you guys go ape shit on me in the comments, I think, what is it, sometime in the 80s or 90s, grain treated lumber became safe again, so it's a risk I'm willing to take. So a 4x4 where I live costs $12.98, and for each bed it took 2 of them because I cut them in half. The sideboards are all 2x8s. A 2x8 where I live is $10.78 a piece. For a 3x3 bed, it took 2 4x4s and 8 2x8s. For a 3x8 bed, it took 2 4x4s and 12 2x8s. So one 3x3 bed here at my house costs about $112, where a 3x8 bed costs $155. So the cost wasn't that much, and you get about over 2 times. But we talked through it, and Mrs. Woodward said the look of it, let's make them different sizes because we thought that'd be cool. So grand total on lumber, let's see here, I spent $578.16 just in lumber, and I'm estimating probably about $50 on screws. So I got about $630 just into the lumber of the garden beds. Now, a lot of people on the internet talk about how expensive it is to fill raised garden beds, and they're not lying, because I've done that in the past where I spend $100, $150 just on one bed. I got really lucky. So to fill all 6 of these, what I did is first off, I had extra rock, much like you see over my shoulder for my next project. So probably I would say the bottom 8 to 10 inches of these were just filled up with rock, because I'm not going to plant anything that really needs root to go that deep. Above the rock, I had some leftover dirt that I hauled up here, and I then put dirt above the rock, not fancy dirt, just dirt, and that is probably, I left probably 8 to 10 inches from the top. And then after that, I actually went to the farm store and I got bagged dirt, probably the most expensive way possible, and I spent probably $150 to $200 on bag of dirt, on bags of dirt, to fill up the bottom or the top 8 to 10 inches of all of these. So I'm probably about $200 into it total on dirt to fill all 6 of these beds. But again, a lot of that I already owned, so I'm not going to count that for today's project. Now at this point of the project, I probably could have been done. Now I've got the wall, I've got it filled in, I've got raised beds, I've got the raised beds done. But we thought, you know what, why don't we let's try to brainstorm. What's the most expensive thing we possibly could do? Cedar fence. So we went ahead and added a cedar fence, a 2-rail fence around the whole thing. Each post, we had to buy 9 total posts, and they cost $17.69 a piece. We had to buy 16 rails, and those cost $15.59 a piece. So all total for this stupid fence we put around here, it costs about $408 total. Now I think it looks good, but $400 is still $400. Comment down below if you think this fence was worth it. Now one thing we didn't want to forget was water. So I went ahead and put a hose in, which, you know, obviously makes things super nice. Now, I didn't want to just run a hose, so I connected PVC and I plumbed PVC lines 100 feet that way around the barn, and then it's now permanent. So now come winter time, all I got to do is blow it out with a little bit of air, but that way if we go down there and turn the water on, we easily can water the garden. All right, so let's summarize. What did we spend total? On the raised beds themselves, like I said, about $630. On the blocks, elevating, backfill, all the way down to the wood chips, about $1,582. The fence, $408.65. The water, running the water lines, which I think is probably the most valuable, was probably somewhere between 80 to $100. And then the fill, like again, I already owned most of it, but I did have to go buy dirt for the top 10 inches. That was probably $150 to $200. When you add all that up, you're right around $2,800. So for $2,800, my wife has this little area. She can grow whatever she wants. She can plant what she wants. If it lives and thrives, it's her fault. If it dies, it's her fault. So that's what it costs. Now, let me know in the comment how well you think I did. Would you like something like this at your house? We think it's pretty cool. Now, we have not forgotten about you. You're probably wondering, Sean, we've been subscribing to your videos. We're trying to support you, man, but you gave up on us. I didn't give up on you. I just took a little bit of a break. If you're watching this, we're back, baby. You can expect a new video every Sunday from Woodward Acres. We appreciate you. Stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next Sunday.